Start. Go live. Go live. Boom. Bow. Last but not least. Bow. Sound like. Peace and love, kings, queens, and gods. We back at it again. It is Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and daggone it, the floating Yogi's back up in this thing. You know who else is here too? DJ Tony from Bay Over Universe, baby. Yeah. And you know, come on now, and you know, we just chilling, we just chit-chatting at the moment. We got a little bit of time to give y'all time, space, and opportunity to come on in, invite a friend. Matter of fact, invite about 10, because we got some knowledge that's about to go in. What up, Jesse? Welcome, welcome. If you want to be part of the Zoom room, if you want to be part of the Discord, the conversation, want to be able to chit-chat with us and go back and forth and, you know, figure out some of this stuff out, I highly encourage you to sign up on the website, uedc.com, and from there you'll be able to sign up for everything that we had offered. Everything's on the website, yo. It's that simple. It's some great things, some fun things that are happening as well. Outside of just, there we go. It's some fun things happening as well. I'll give you a couple plugs. You know, we got a virtual chakra balance and sound healing session. It's a 3-part series. We're going to go through each chakra. The first 3 we're going to tackle on tomorrow, and then the following week we're going to tackle the heart chakra, the centerpiece. And then we're going to tackle the upper 3 after that. So I encourage you to sign up if you are looking to be a part of it. Check out High Vibe House. It's a whole bunch of shenanigans happening there. Those right after you finish flowing with me at Sun and Moon for the movement portion of the practice. You can just slide on downstairs and then get the stillness, get the breath work in. Just watch how you expand and evolve to the next level. Okay, what else is there? Some of the, like I mentioned before, some of the people who help me be me, help me do what I do. I mentioned my dude, Tony. He's part of the crew. DJ Tony's an interesting dude. He comes from a dimension where people are our greatest resource. And if you look at America at this time, it doesn't necessarily seem like America has many of those great resources, but there is one right there. I encourage you to check him out. Reach out to him, see how he can be an asset. Maybe it's, you know, daily reminders, prayers, affirmations. Maybe it's just a network to connect to someone else or something else that can help get you to the next place, the next plateau. So I encourage you to tap in. And matter of fact, Tony, can you let them know about a couple of the things that you do? Let them know how they can tap in with you.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start with myself. I'm just feeling that type of way today. So if you look at Payoga1 on Instagram.com, but actually, honestly, people are our greatest resource. Go to Google, type in hashtag PAOGR, and you'll probably find me being the whole first page. I got all the social medias. I check them all pretty much every day. I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I started living online. And then I connected with the divine over time. And then this is the happen. So people are our greatest resource. Look me up. Every morning I try to share some love, do a little bit of breath work, and then do a quick prayer. Less than 5 minutes every morning. Real simple. Spend some time in your mind. Spend some time talking to the Creator. And spend some time making up yourself. Then I hop on over to Yogi.dc on IG, and I click that Move to Meditated button because there's a question there for you. It said, are you moving and meditating today, or are you bullshitting on your greatness? Hold up. I'm going to switch the mic because I remember the other mic better than this one. So hold up. Let me see if I can... Oh, I can't can't get it to. Oh well. Anyway, so hop on over to UE.DC and click the meditative button, join the growth gang, and get a shout out the very next day. Real simple.
Just a reminder to feed back in, to tap back in. Hey, yeah, this is my way of checking in, my way of engaging the community, my way of growing. You know, just small things that create a platform for big growth. All right. Some of the other folks we got, we also have Lifeform mats. Their mats are fantastic. I use them every day. That's how I get that introspection. I'm gonna just call it how I see it. The mats is fire. I sweat like a hog in heat, and ain't nobody got time for all that slipping and sliding like it's a water slide out here. So go and get you a mat that's gonna have a dope design, keep you encouraged to come back and learn those lessons. Come to these spaces so we can take those on-mat lessons off of the mat and into our day-to-day lives. Those healthy habits we can establish one at a time. Check in with payover. Check in with the daily meditation and movement accountability. We have the services available for you. Join the community of people looking to grow, people who are growing. We can go far together, or we can go fast alone. It's a marathon out this show. All right. So, what else we got? I think that's about it. I think that's it. I think we're ready to get to the book. I'm really actually excited about this chapter. Silent sitting. So many people don't really understand meditation. And then the next chapter is learning to sit. We might break them up into two, but I'm going to be honest. If I just shut up and start reading, we might get it through the day. We're going to see. So, chapter 13. Page 80. Let's get it. The third week of May. Hold on, let's just double check. I'm gonna go to the first week. The third week in February. So she's been locked up for 3 months. Just think about this, in these conditions for 3 months. Now I'll move forward. Third week of May. Coming up the path to the main road the next week, I ran into a thin, friendly little boy that I recognized as one of the waifs who brought Basuku his trays of food. He was shy and almost walked by, but I saw his eyes on Long Life, and I knew how to make him stop and talk. I held out my little line and stroked his back and let the boy pet him too. He talked a bit. Apparently things were getting a little hard for all the boys with Basuku locked up for so long. And I couldn't help thinking what a waste it was that they could not be learning something useful, something that would help them for the rest of their lives and not land them in some jail somewhere. Oh, wow. So reminiscent of life and what's going on. So, are we done with all this breathing stuff? Started the captain. I really was doing all right on that part before we met, you know. As everyone typically likes to say, you don't even know that you ain't even breathing right, yo. Like, come on, sit down, get this together. And then you'll be like, yo, this is a whole nother world, yo. Like, life doesn't have to be so anxious and stressful. I
feel like that would cause so much disappointment, though. Like, me as a teacher, like, that type of kidding is like the deepest level of, am I wasting my time? Like, am I really wasting my time with you? Am I really never getting out of here?
I mean, for real, that's what it seemed like. She'd been locked up. Hey, what up, Kay? She'd been locked up for 3 months, and they, just started giving her food? And they didn't even give her food. They're allowing someone to give her food.
How many weeks has she had her job now?
I think she got the job 2 weeks ago. Breathe and smile. I think she got it 2 chapters ago. So each chapter is about a week. Yeah, the horses and the horsemen. No. Yeah, she got about a week. About a week. About a week ago. Right? Alright. So are we okay? I shot him a look, but could see that he was just kidding. I wager that he spent his whole week trying to keep an even number of in-breaths and out-breaths. Whenever he had to deal with one of the corporal's emergencies, "Almost done," I replied. The master closes this particular part by adding, "long and fine." Alright, long and fine. 250C is where that sutra is, if you are interested. Long and fine. That's how we want the breath. "What's that supposed to mean?" asked the captain. If you think about it, we've talked about the state of the breath, in or out, stopped or moving. And then we talked about the mechanics of the breath, location, speed, and measurement. Here, now the master is looking at the breath in a deeper way, as a tool to reach deeper into deeper places. You see, normally as you go through the series of poses, you're trying to breathe as long as you can, which is to say, keeping the breaths full and hearty on the way in and on the way out, regardless of how fast you're breathing. This is critical for the desired effect of the inner channels, for fixing problems like your back. But there's also poses where the goal is to bring the breath down to the very fine, quiet flow, almost as if you were asleep, listening quietly to a very loving piece of music. These are the most important poses of all, because these are the poses where you switch over from working on the channels from the outside to working on the channels from the inside. I like this part, y'all. Pay attention. Come on now. From the inside, I don't get it, admitted the captain. I tried to think hard of an example from his everyday world. Let's say you have a long piece of bamboo that you've hollowed out, and you want to bring water into your house from a stream outside. Okay, he nodded. And his look was on me with honest interest. He really did have the instincts of a very good student. Then, one day the water isn't coming through very well, just short of a small trickle. And you realize that the bamboo pipe is clogged up somewhere with mud or something. Now, if you think about it, there's two different ways that you can get at the problem. Right? Two different ways you can get to the problem. I waited for him. Take a stick and knock on the outside of the pipe, sort of like the way that you might loosen up an uncooperative prisoner. You see how she be throwing them lobos and jabs in there? Yeah, you still got me locked up though. I'm helping you, but you still got me locked up, and I'm gonna put that on the forefront. I don't need to smack you in the face with it, but I just slide it on the plate. See how that worked. I winced and unconsciously rubbed the scar on my arm. Sorry, he said sincerely. Or you can go at it from the inside. You can get a long, thin reed, say, and poke it in the pipe and try to break up the blockage. At some point, you might want to blow real hard into the pipe and see if that helps too. You getting this metaphor? You can work on it from the outside, banging the outside, or you can tap into the breath and how fine and thin and long or short it could be, and start to soften the breath. And not trying to, like you're trying to get boogers out your nose. No, none of that. So fine that you only see me expand. You don't even hear. That's a different way to seep in. Ooh, it is nice. And here it works just the same, I said. You see, the poses that I've taught you so far work from the outside. We stretch a part of your body to try to cause a parallel straightening of those subtle channels inside. Or we bend at the major joints, which happen to grow anyway, where blockages in the channels were already present, even in the womb, and try to help loosen the choke points. All to get to the inner winds, the good ones, moving again. But you can also go at it from the inside, I continued. The goal is to free up the good winds, to get them moving again, but always remember too that the winds are carriers, like horses, and that upon them ride your thoughts. They are inextricably tied to one another. Move one and the other has to move. That's where the body is the physical representation of the mind right there. Now, during the poses of yoga, we as we've been doing them so far, almost like a series of physical exercises. It's like knocking on the outside of the pipe to loosen up the mud that's blocking the free flow of water inside. We're trying to get the horses, the inner winds, loose and moving freely, and then well-being, both physical and mental well-being, grows and stays with you because the source is fixed. The choke points are released. But if you think about it, you could also just go to the rider to move the horse and not vice versa. That is, you can purposefully make contact with the kinds of thoughts that would run through those middle channels and feed them and make them strong. And then they'd start to flow freely, dragging the inner winds along with them as they go. The grip of the two sides of the channel would start to loosen as more of the inner energy leaves the negative areas and flows into the middle. And then the middle channel would get fuller and stronger, better able to resist any future choking from the side channels. No choking, then all the points where your body hurts or where it's getting old would start to change and get better. And good thoughts, happy thoughts, would start to grow more and more. It's amazing, he said. What's that, I asked. It's amazing to think that there's a real reason why we feel happier when we feel better. That there's actually a place where the physical and the mental cross over. It's so obvious, but it's not something you could ever figure out really on your own. I strongly support those thoughts. A lot of times we're so tapped into what's happening on our daggone devices that we're not even able to. We can hear things going down the street, we can hear gunshots, fireworks, but we don't even hear the blood flowing through our veins. We don't even hear our heart beating. We're so oblivious to ourselves, to the vibrations that we're creating. I'm going to just let that sit for a moment. It was amazing, and he was amazing for seeing it so quickly. I smiled and took him through his usual series of poses rather lightly so his body and the winds would loosen up, but without his getting tired. Then I sat him down on one side of the blanket that we used to cover the floor during the poses and had him cross his legs loosely in a way that would be comfortable for him. Something you need to know, I said. Then, in the old days, doing the poses had only one goal. The master mentions this goal when he describes how it is that the poses bring you the well-being which stays with you. They do so, Sutra 247, they do so through a balance of effort and relaxation, and through endless forms of balanced meditation. I support these thoughts. It is definitely a balance between ease and effort. Like, how much do we have to put into it? Because it's not just sit stagnant, and it's not just go. There is a balance that we have to, a fine line, a tightrope that we have to walk. And everybody's is different. That's why it's like a personal journey. Figure out what works for you. That's how we create these healthy habits and stick with them. Not just doing arbitrary things just because, oh, it sounds good. No. Let's do things that make sense. And let's stick with it. Consistency is key. We don't go nowhere. Consistency will change whatever league you are in. I guarantee it. Alright. They do so through a balance of effort and relaxation, and through endless forms of balanced meditation. And so you see, the original purpose of the poses was to make you healthy and strong and straighten your thought winds, to the point where you can meditate well in a whole variety of different ways, always maintaining a balance between the effort it takes to keep your mind from getting sleepy and the relaxed feeling that you need to settle down and keep it from thinking of too many other things. You feel that you hear that? Should I run that one back? I'm gonna run it back. Shits and gigs. And so, you see, the original purpose of the poses was to make you healthy and strong and straighten out your thought winds to the point where you could meditate well in a whole variety of different ways, always maintaining a balance between the effort it takes to keep your mind from getting sleepy and the relaxed feeling you need to let it settle down and keep it from thinking of too many other things. In the original poses, the earliest ones, we were just different ways of sitting for comfort and steadiness as you meditate. So, are we going to do meditation? The captain asked cheerfully. Oh, the captain's excited about some meditation. I'm here for that. Not really, I said. Prayer then? Or contemplation? Not those either, I replied, staring at the floor, trying to think something out. To tell you the truth, I said finally, I don't feel all that comfortable with calling it any of those three things. Because people, just normal people everywhere, have such different ideas about what it is to do meditation or prayer or contemplation. And they already have certain feelings about what they think the three are. But as you will see, what we're going to do together is something fresh, something exciting and different. A way that we can work on your back pain from the inside and get your happy thoughts flowing well. It's actually sort of a plumbing, really. Plumbing. The captain looked dubious. I don't think the master would have approved of you calling it plumbing, he said. I frowned and finally had to nod in agreement. Well, what we're going to do is just sit. We're going to sit together silently. I gazed out the window. We're going to do silent sitting. And that's all. I love it. Let's just sit together. What came up for you? You don't have to have all that extra focus. Where did you go? You could have went to a whole daggone forest on another planet underneath the stars and the sea at the same time. And I could have been sitting in this chair thinking about my to-do list. Where did you go? I don't want to give you a form. I don't want to tell you where you have to be. Don't even want to give you too many options, because then the mind can run wild. But if we just sit silently together, tell me about what came up. Tell me about those steps, those sensations, those images, those feelings and thoughts. Let's just sit.
Ooh, now we have to learn how to sit. Ooh.
Learning how to sit. Chapter 14. Okay. This is a good one. I like this. I like these two chapters. Fourth week of May. The next day on the way to the station, I ran into the boy again. He had a friend with him. Ostensibly, they wanted to pet Long Life, and both he and they enjoyed it immensely. But I could also tell that the boys were lonely and bored. Without the ringleader, the adopted daddy, Busuku, by the end of the week, all 8 boys in Busuku's little gang were waiting on the path to pet and talk. It became a regular thing, and I got to know their names. The first one I met on the path was called Kumara Vira, the young warrior. I found out that he'd been the only one brave enough to deliver the little food packages for Long Life and me, out behind the jail at night. That week during our class, I led the captain again through his poses, working from the outside, knocking on the pipes rather lightly. That way he'd still be fresh when we got to sit down silently together, to working on the pipes from the inside. But first, I had to get him to sit right, and for that I decided the military approach would fit him. Now, Captain, sitting in silence together so we can start working on your channels from the inside is never going to work unless you first learn to sit properly. Just as we were learning how to stand properly, because first and foremost, above all, your back absolutely must remain straight. Otherwise, you're just choking the channels worse at the very same places we're trying to open up again, and the mental plumbing we do won't work that well anyways. So first, back straight, he moved up and out of his slouch, shoulders even. That little hunch at his back, and his back disappeared. Chin up. I gave him, it came up, but too far. Not that high. Just the natural place where it would be if you were looking straight ahead at something that you were really interested in. Face relaxed. We hold a lot of tension in our face. He tried, but the daily work creases between his eyebrows didn't change much. Special attention to those 3 points, I began. at the lower forehead, between the eyebrows, and oh yes, he pushed the corners of his mouth into a gentle smile with his two fingers. Those really are keys to loosening up those choke points. I mean it, I said sternly. In reply, he gave me a salute. I guess they taught him at military academy. Tongue relaxed in its natural position in the mouth, gently touching the spot above the two front teeth, just behind them. His whole face started to relax. Then, eyes, he said, if you keep them open, it will be distracting. But when you shut them off for more than a few seconds, your body thinks it's time to go to sleep. From years and years of conditioning. One thing you can do is just lower your eyelids almost all the way and leave them cracked there. Then keep your eyes pointed down, but be careful not to peek out at anything. Just keep your eyes...
That's lower the gaze, right?
That's lowering the gaze, yeah.
That's exactly how you described it when that was one of my brick questions. Because I was like, close your eyes, lower the gaze. I was like, just look at the toes, or like, squint for no reason.
Let them Jones hang, and then look down. That great way to break it up. Because the eyes, if you think about it, if you want to see what's going on in the mind, the easiest thing to do, just like the book said, turn the mind off. Turn the input to the mind off so you can see what's in there as opposed to see what it's looking at, see what it's paying attention to. Just see what's in there without putting new information. Close your eyes. Sit with it for a while. A lot of times people are so 100, 0 or 100, all or nothing, that once they start to feel relaxed, it's like, I gotta go all in and I gotta go to sleep. There's no levels to relax. It's no like, I am 100%, I'm almost sleep, or I'm just a little bit relaxed. I can feel my muscles softening, because that's a state, that's an actual thing. Your muscles soften as we relax, as we tense them and add energy to them. So, we can just literally just check the tension of the body, check the tension of the breath. How are you breathing? A lot of times we can be breathing like we're trying to pull all the boogers out our nose. Yeah, ain't gotta do all that. We ain't gotta do all that.
I feel like everybody can identify different stages of sleep or tired, because we got driving tired, and then we got in bed can't sleep tired, and those are completely different.
The other thing is noticing the difference in those energies, because now we're talking about a whole bunch of different energies when it comes to like driving tired or energetically wise. We go from 0 to 100. We need to find those middle grounds and be okay, not crashing at. We're normally 100% activated. When we reach 90% activated, it doesn't need to be a shut off for us. We need to be able to function and not doing as much. And with that, so many more potentials and capabilities open up to us, because we're not mentally over encumbered with all the things that we're trying to deal with. Those SIFs, those sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, that we don't have to deal with a whole bunch of them. We have extra capacity, extra stamina, extra energy towards those things, or whatever we want to do with whatever we want to do. But we gotta find a balance. For me, I like to be the most relaxed, the most conscious of the day, so I can feel how good it feels to not bust my ass all the time. You know, that's it. Alright, now you want to get relaxed and you want your breath coming and going through your nose in the way that the master called fine. One way to get down into the fine breathing is just to take 10 quiet breaths first, counting them carefully. If you lose count, start over again. Your mind's not quiet enough for you to sit silently yet. So what they're doing now is creating something for the mind to do, so we can do it in the mind and watch how things change. Because the mind is not physical. We need something physical. We need something to do. We need to create or impose a system on top of it, so then we can see how the mind reacts. So then we can get a clear picture of the mind, right? All right. Later on, measure the breath to see if you're getting fine. Listen carefully for any sound at all from the nostrils on the outside or inside, and try to quiet them down below audible. It's considered helpful for directing the inner winds into the middle channel if you can count each breath from the exhale first rather than counting from the inhale. So one whole breath would be an out breath followed by an in breath, always retaining a feeling of the energy coming in at the end, coming to the middle. So try a few now. I checked his posture while he was watching his 10 breaths, still a little bit forward. When he was done, I said, there's a little trick to make sure you're absolutely straight up and down, and straight up and down in the back as well. Put your palm flat on the floor and push it down as if you were trying to push the whole floor into the ground underneath this building. He pushed a bit. Harder, I said. He pushed a little more. Harder, I said again, trying to use grandmother's voice of command. He pushed his palm down with force this time, straightened out his elbow and getting his shoulders right over his arm. I grabbed them both and said, see how well all this lines up? Each piece over the other, straight as an arrow. If you push down, now I want you to do the same with your bottom as you sit. Push it down, as if you were trying to shove it through the floor. He did, and suddenly his head popped up another inch or two. His neck rose gracefully out of his shoulders, and most importantly, his bad back with his choke point straightened right up from his hips. You see what happens? Alignment is crucial. What about my legs, he asked. They're all right just like that. For now, crossed loosely. You could even just sit on the bench or a chair as long as your feet were flat on and your back, neck, and head straight. The point for now is to sit in the one most straight and comfortable position you can, so your mind won't be running off worrying about an ache or a pain or somewhere as we sit. And my hands, I said finally, you can put them on your lap. The right on top of the right, the right on top of the left, palms face up, with the thumbs touching very lightly. Or, if it's more comfortable for you, you can just set them on your knees, palms up or down, with the first finger and thumb touching lightly. Ooh, up, down, receive, ground. All this is helpful, has a helpful effect on your inner winds, and you can refine it more and more as we go. But it's all physical, more knocking on the pipes from the outside. The last and most important part of sitting is how you position your thoughts themselves on the inside. I know, he said brightly. Sit very still and try to think about nothing at all. I smiled at him, as Katrine did, and smiled at me the same day I said the same thing. There was so much to tell him in no knowing how much time we had. But we also needed to focus to concentrate. It is the dilemma every teacher faces. There are many ways of focusing your mind as you sit like this, I began. Almost all of them involve trying to avoid thinking about too many different things. And some of them include certain kinds of special thoughts that are so wonderful that you may not be aware for a while that you're thinking at all. But thinking about nothing is not a goal. In fact, it's a problem. You really want to be careful not to go off into some kind of dreamy feeling where you really are sort of relaxing in a lazy way. This happens quite often. When you catch yourself in these states, become mindful of it. I myself am not telling you, you're not my direct student in interweb. I encourage you to give it a shot. He's saying, I encourage you to give it a shot. Go off, get lost into those feelings, and then try not to. You know, if you're looking for a specific meditation, go and check out the uedc.com website. We got some shenanigans for you in there, some ways to grow, some ways to go. So I encourage you to tap in and check it out. Oh yeah, we right on time. This is gonna be great. All right. Rather, you want to be a bright, alert, and focused, happy, and engaged, as if you were watching a performance by some actors. And the story is so captivating that you can't even hear it when the person next to you says something to you. Do you see the difference? That's not thinking about nothing. That's thinking about something so deeply and joyfully that it perhaps feels as though you were hardly thinking about anything. And certainly your mind was not wandering off to unrelated thoughts either. He nodded thoughtfully. And then he said, like how you feel when you're reading a good book or listening to your favorite song, almost like you forget to breathe, maybe. Sometimes you even forget to keep your mouth closed and you catch yourself drooling on yourself, so you're so engrossed in the thing. And that's simply not thinking about something else. It's completely different from that dazed feeling you have when you just woke up or you had too much to drink or, not that I know anything about that, of course. Ha, not me. Ha 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 ha. In fact, I didn't. But he got the point, and he got it well. So we need to choose a thought, a good thought, a thought you can focus upon, that you can enjoy, and one which shoots right down to the middle channel and breaks the blockages out of the bamboo from the inside. I thought the master describes a thought that the master describes when he says, it gives the same effect as releasing, then storing the winds of the breath. Oh, why? The point is that there is one method of working from the inside which gives you the same wonderful results as lots of effort done from the outside. These outside methods are the poses which you are learning, or things like special ways of breathing, all of them aim to release the inner winds from the places where they're choked. So they can be stopped, so they can be stored up instead with the middle channel. And this inner method is not thinking about nothing. It's thinking about something on purpose in a very focused and happy way. No judgment. The captain didn't actually ask what it is. I think he already knew. Something before all memory even. He just nodded in a very peaceful way. And I told him softly to practice the next 10 breaths and sit silently, straightly, until we meet next together. Next chapter, free kindness. Silent sitting. We're getting into the meditation. We're getting into the meditation and the breathing. I absolutely love that breakdown of meditation because it talks about so many of the foundations that a lot of times people may have heard of, but they don't necessarily respect. It's like, oh yeah, you're telling me to do this. I know it. And they just brush it off. And it's like, yeah, this is how you get the breath fine enough to actually poke holes on the inside of that bamboo pipe. But you're not ready for it yet. That's cool. Let's keep beating on the pipes from the outside until you're like, you know what? Is there another way to do this? Can we do this without that much without that much or maybe while I'm banging on the pipes from the outside, I feel like I'm doing too much. Is there a way I can soften what I'm doing? Yeah, now you about ready. Once we create a little bit of grace with ourselves, getting into the flow, and then create a little bit of grace with ourselves, that's when the sensitivity kind of comes in. And it allows us to feel and experience things that were there the whole time, but like the book was saying, the mind's so loud that we're not even able to hear it. We don't even know that it's happening. We don't know it's beneath the surface. That's why it's super important to, after you finish silent sitting or meditating or whatever you want to call it, praying, write it down. Whatever's stuck with you, write it down. Because then you'll start to see those reoccurring thoughts and you can do something about it. A lot of times I know so many people, it's those reoccurring thoughts that we don't address that are just drastic hindrances towards us achieving our goal. Myself as well. That's why I write it down. I write it down, or I got G and she gonna be like, did we get, yes, you right, let's go and get that so we can keep growing. We got places to be, things to see. Let's make it happen. But with that being said, hopefully y'all enjoyed these last 2 weeks, because these last 2 weeks was fire. Tony, you got something you want to say to the folk?
Make sure you check out Oooo.dc. Get your breathing in, your meditation in. Like I tell everybody, 1 minute a day to change your life.
Facts.
What's the downside?
Facts. I support those thoughts.
I support those thoughts.
So with that being said, y'all, thank you for vibing with us. Thanks for growing with us. Any questions, comments, want to work on something, go and send that email, support@uedc.com. If you want to reach me personally about something in particular, go and send out the info at the Floating Yogi. You can slide in the DMs. I'm going to get to them when I do. I encourage you, if you want something professional, to reach out in a professional way so we can professionally move forward. Again, some of the partners, the people who help me be me, we got Lifeform yoga mats, we got Sun and Moon Yoga in Arlington, DC, we got Flow Yoga Center in DC. Come on, check out the Ashtanga Mysore at both of those spaces, 6:30 to 9 at Sun and Moon, 10 to 12 at Flow Yoga Center. We out here changing health and wellness in the community. Hopefully you a part of it, because we're going to be here for a while. And then you be like, dang, they killed over it. They ain't want to come get, they ain't want to get the health and wellness. Dang, I was over here giving it out for free. I was just giving you extra life on the clock for free. Come on now. In the long run, that's more money you can make because you're here longer. If you care about money, for those. Or more love you can give to those around you, if you care about that. Ooh, that's warming. Anyway, questions, comments, want to work on something, ready to grow. Let's get it, y'all. Let's go. Peace and love, kings, queens, and guys.